Kunja Bihari. Jai Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Thank you. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, entitled Brahma, Stealing the Boys and Calves, text number 17. Kvapya drista vantar vipine. Kvapya dristvantar vipine. Vatsam palamscha visvavit. Sarvam vidikritam Krishna. Saha sava jagamaha. Kvapya dristatvantar. No, sorry. Kvapya dristvantar vipine. Vatsan palamscha visvavit. Sarvam vidikritam Krishna. Saha sava jagamaha. Kvapya dristvantar vipine. Vatsan palamscha visvavit. Sarvam vidikritam Krishna. Saha sava jagamaha.
Drisvantar vipine. Vatsan palamscha visvavit. Sarvam vidikritam Krishna. Saha sava jagamaha.
Kutrapi, anywhere. Adristva, not seeing at all. Antavipine, within the forest. Vatsan, the calves. Palancha, and their caretakers. The cowherd boys. Visvavid, Krishna, who's aware of everything going on throughout the whole cosmic manifestation. Sarvam, everything. Vidikritam was executed by Brahma. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Sahasa, immediately. Avajagama, ha, could understand. Translation. When Krishna was unable to find the calves and their caretakers, the cowherd boys, anywhere in the forest, he could suddenly understand that this was the work of Lord Brahma. Although Krishna is Vishvavit, the knower of everything happening in the entire cosmic manifestation, as an innocent child, he showed ignorance of Brahma's actions, although he could immediately understand that these were the doings of Brahma. The pastime is called Brahma Vimoha, the bewilderment of Brahma. Brahma was already bewildered by Krishna's activities as an innocent child, and now he would be further bewildered. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananana Salakaya Shakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kanamayam Dadati Swapadantika Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna is known as Yogeshwar, or the Supreme Mystic. So no one can match Krishna. Krishna is asamurdva, unrivaled. No one is equal to Krishna. But Lord Brahma, somehow or other, became impressed by his own powers. Of course, his powers are extraordinary, undoubtedly. And in this way, that was his delusion. His delusion began with being impressed with all the things that he could do. So, when we begin to become impressed by any of our achievements, that's where immediately delusion begins. This is the state where we've become attached to the fruits of our activities and begin to claim proprietorship over these fruits. Whereas karmani evidikaraste mafalesu kadachana karma falehi tuburmaste swangmista karmani. The fruits, we have no right to the fruits of our activities. They depend on Krishna. And we can, there's no credit to claim at all. So, but that tendency is there in all living beings. Srila Prabhupada said the pauper is proud of his penny. Right? So, in this way, we are somehow or other finding a cause for pride. But pride means that we claim something that is not ours. We have no ability that is ours. Everything is a gift, and can also be taken anytime by Krishna. So there's nothing in this world that is our property, and therefore there's nothing no quality that we have that is truly our quality. Purusam Nisu, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the ability in man. So we can see the initial downfall of Lord Brahma. How Lord Brahma was thinking that, yes, of course, this boy is really something. I mean, Aghasura was enormous. Right? Aghasura, if we look at the measurements that are described, was about 12 kilometers long. So then if you look, we once did a little exercise where we put Aghasura's open mouth next to the World Trade Towers, right? And they were greater than the Trade Towers. So it's quite something, Aghasura. And Krishna just killed him. So that was something. I mean, definitely impressive. Krishna did lots of things that were impressive. But then again, Lord Brahma was also thinking about his own abilities. And so he entered into a competition and he started to measure the power of Krishna by his size. Is that he's a boy, so boy means limited, right? So he's limited. Just by seeing his size, he was thinking, yes, well, he's extraordinary for a boy. And boys are okay, but when boys are supposed to fight with adults, what chance do they have? We're gonna win. Anytime you're ready for a wrestling match, just let me know. But your father, you can bring him, okay? Yeah. So like this, we are seeing that. Krishna had now appeared in the form of a small boy. He was holding this rice and yogurt in his left hand, which was something a little difficult for Lord Brahma, because after all, Lord Brahma is very learned. He has thoroughly studied the Vedas, thoroughly realized the Vedas. So much so that basically he thinks through the Vedas. We may study these books a little bit, but then there is the book and there's the reality. When one year here, Jyotirmayī-devī Swami was giving a seminar in Radhadesh called The Hopes and Horrors of Household Life. That was very successful because the people were already talking about it before it had started. And people were saying, who is he to say anything about the Grihastha ashram? He was never married in the first place, you know what I'm saying? What does he know about the hopes and horrors of household life? Somehow or other, I was coming from Holland and I got stuck in traffic, and I just arrived when the first session was over. And someone else had also missed it and asked a person who came out, how was it? How was it? And that person said, oh, it was all theoretical, just quotes from the scripture. Now that's a very interesting statement, because for Lord Brahma, the quotes of the scripture are not theoretical. They are realized. He lives it. He lives by the Vedic injunctions. That's his way of life. Not from, I know some scripture, but my life is like this, and my knowledge is... And these are two different directions. No. In the case of Lord Brahma, there was practically no such dichotomy. That is how Lord Brahma was perceiving immediately. Holding food in left hand. Ignorance, right? A boy. Right? Some ignorance may be expected. Right? So Krishna in this way was reinforcing the image that he was indeed limited by boyish existence. There you go. And he was now reinforcing it like an expert actor. As an actor, Krishna was looking everywhere in the universe. Where are my friends? Where are the calves? I mean, where are they all? I mean, what's happening here? He looked like confused. And Lord Brahma was looking and thinking, yes, it's working. It's working. He is falling prey now to illusion. Just see. And in this way, Krishna was increasing the delusion of Lord Brahma, magnifying it. Now, that's generally how Krishna deals with anyone who challenges him. We see that with the demons, right? We see how when Lord Varaha is fighting with Hiranyaksha, it's a big thing, you know. I mean, it's a big fight, and they fight with clubs, and the clubs are striking together like bang, and then Varaha, then the club of Hiranyaksha at one point falls. And Lord Varaha picks it up and offers it to him. Now that's really like, then, you know, Lord Varaha, then Hiranyaksha managed to hit Lord Varaha on the head. And Lord Varaha just stands there and says, try again. So it's like, it's really first bringing up his power to great pride and then reducing it. So that is generally what Krishna does. Otherwise, Krishna wouldn't have to bother to rectify any demon and fight with them. If he wanted the demons to just dissolve on their own, they would, or burn up in flames or whatever. Krishna is this Ichcha Shakti, which sometimes also called Satya Sankalpa Shakti, that whatever determination he has becomes true, or the Ichcha Shakti, his desire becomes fulfilled, so he can do everything through desire. But then there's no fun, right? If it's just all the demons gone, anything else? No. The fun is there when Krishna almost loses, and when the demigods start praying, please kill him now, because soon it will get dark, and then demons, their power increases as it gets darker and darker. So kill him now. Okay then. So Krishna killed Hiranyakasipu in the form of the Shringadev at twilight. Yes, so before the night, to satisfy the demigods, to satisfy their anxiety, and a few other reasons also. Anyway, so Krishna performs his pastimes like this, and in this way also he increased a sense of superiority in Lord Brahma. But what Lord Brahma does not understand is the superior nature of childhood pastimes over Vedic injunctions. That Vedic injunctions are giving us regulated principles of how to behave, but that beyond that there is the spontaneous platform, the spontaneous platform of love. Yes, and as a cowherd boy, yes, Krishna will eat with the left hand because, after all, he's not going to be limited. Right? It's now, the parents are gone. Right? They're at home. Hey, this is the time of freedom. Now we can do what we want. We are in the forest. And in the forest, well, we eat the left hand when we want to. A little rebellion. Yes. Why not? Although you know it's wrong, of course. Yes. Yes, they know. Anyway, so in this way, Krishna is performing his cowherd boy pastimes, and it's all about enjoying the exchanges. It is about the exchanges with the other cowherd boys. That's what it's about. Krishna throwing a stone or a stick or something like that. In Vrindavan, up to the day of today, there is a game, a local village game. And they say that Krishna used to play this village game. And it could be. The game is basically this. There is a stone and a small stick that is resting on the stone. And then they have a bigger stick in the hand. Then they have to hit the little stick and it flies up in the air. And then they have to hit it with the big stick. Yeah. So it's a typical cowherd boy game, because it's just all with the ingredients from the forest. There's nothing artificial. It's not plastic. It has no batteries. There's no light flashing. There's no remote control. Nothing. Nothing. So it's just a stone. A stone and a little stick on top, and then a stick in your hand. But it's difficult, huh? You try. You can try. Yeah, you try it. You guys with your skateboards, You try. It's as difficult as skateboarding, if not more difficult, right? Because you never know which direction the stick's going to fly, the little stick. Just put it on that stone, a little bit over the edge. It's very important how you put it. And then, hey. Or, missed it. Like that, right? Oh yes, when you hit it and someone else misses it. So that's what it was about, right? The exchange and the rivalry and the competition between the cowherd boys. And instead of being the supreme personality of Godhead, who is unrivaled, who is the supreme controller, who is the origin of everything, and who is being worshipped by all. And why wouldn't he be worshipped by all? After all, he is the supplier of all, and so on. So we can understand that the taste that is experienced in these competitions with the cowherd boys are much more fun. And Krishna makes sure that his superiority becomes covered over by the influence of Yogamaya. Just bringing Yogamaya in the game is very nice, because in this way Krishna also is no longer all-knowing, right? Because he voluntarily agrees to be covered over by the illusory energy. But in relation to Lord Brahma, Krishna was not covered by Yogamaya. That only works in the relationship with the residents of Vrindavan. It doesn't work like that with the demigods. So although on the one hand Krishna can be covered by Yogamaya and not know who is the cowherd boy who comes up from behind and covers his eyes and says, "Who am I?" No. That then Yogamaya is at work. But at the same time, when Lord Brahma is present, Krishna knows everything. So yes, he is Vishvavit. Vishvavit, he knows everything about the whole universe and anything going on in the whole universe. So he knows very well where everything is in the universe, which would be a useful thing. I always lose things, or always misplace things. And it's like one of the things I really hate, just when I'm about to leave the room, where's the key? Yeah? Just I can't find the key. Just as I'm about to go, where's the key? Stuff like this is like agonizing. So it must be nice to be Vishvajit. Right? That must be really nice. I wouldn't mind if I was Vishvajit and would just know where everything was, so I don't have to waste so much time looking for things. Right? Yeah, so Krishna is Vishvajit, but then again, that's get boring also, right? If you always know what everything is, So we see that, yes, Krishna, he likes to not know sometimes, or act that he doesn't know. Right? That is Krishna. And that exchange is much more dear to him. Maybe I quoted it recently also, but there is that verse, Shrutim itare, Shmitim itare, Bharatam anje, Bhajanta bhavabhita, aham iyam nanda vande yasya linda param brahma. Some are worshipping the Shruti, some are worshipping the Smriti, some are worshipping the Mahabharata or the Itihasas, but they're all doing so out of fear, afraid of the karma. And aham iyam Nanda vande, but I worship Nanda Maharaj because in the courtyard of his house, the supreme absolute truth, the Param Brahma, is playing like a child. And that, now disconnected from the Veda, now above the Veda, because there are two positions amongst those who don't follow the Vedas. Those who are below the Vedas and those who are above the Vedas. The Malechas are below the Vedas. They are not following the rules and regulations of the Vedas. But those who are absorbed in transcendental love, they may sometimes follow the Vedas and sometimes not follow the Vedas. They are not bound by the Vedas because they go beyond the Vedas. For example, it is stated that in front of the deity, one may not lie down. But then it is described in the Nectar of Devotion that someone who is in the mood of a cowherd boy will lie down in front of the deities, just sort of like, not stand there like a column with two hands glued together with super glue in a constant prayer. No, just casually lying down. Hey Krish. Yeah, it's like, or call them Kanai or whatever, Kana, some intimate name, right? Not formal. Informal. So that is there going beyond the Vedas. Yes. Therefore, the most intimate knowledge, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam, the most intimate knowledge remains hidden from the Vedas. It is not known through the Vedas. It is hidden within the heart of the pure devotees. So now that statement makes more sense when we understand dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam, hidden within the heart of the pure devotees. And whatever is hidden in the heart of the pure devotees, that is not something that can just be easily defined, because pure love of God is eternally increasing. And for that we have the evidence of Srimati Radharani, who is her love is in competition with the qualities of Krishna, and both are unlimited. She always discovers one more quality of Krishna that she didn't know before. But immediately she will love that also. And in this way her love is eternally increasing. And then there's another quality of Krishna, and it just goes on. Krishna. One can never become Krishna conscious just by Vedic injunctions. And if we are Krishna conscious on the basis of philosophy, then we are in that category of fear. Then we belong with the Shrutim Itre and the Shmitim Itre and the Bharatamanye. With all those who are worshipping out of fear, because then we are simply behaving well, because wealth and give me beauty. Oh yes, give me all these things. Yeah. Doesn't it sound good? Health, wealth and beauty. I mean, it sums it up, right? Sort of, yeah. These are the things that motivate people. Health, wealth, and beauty. Yes. So, but these are the material illusions. What is the value of such things? For the cowherd boys, the jewels they wear, that's not wealth. What is from their forest has wealth. That is what's really... and they cover the jewels with leaves and flowers from the forest. So our real wealth is simply Krishna. There's not worshipping Krishna to attain something else. Yes, we are very religious so that there will be blessings. Bless my house, bless my bank account, bless my children, bless my auntie, bless my grandmother. Who did I forget? My cousin, yes, my, then there are far remote relatives, bless them as well. And not my neighbors, but the ones next to that. Bless my friends, like this. Bless, bless, bless. But all that is simply worshipping Krishna and for something else. So we're worshipping Krishna and we want something from Krishna, something else. But pure devotees, they worship Krishna, they want only Krishna. They don't want anything else. There's nothing to ask Krishna other than, Krishna, please allow me to serve you, because I don't want anything else. I don't want to worship you for anything. I have no problems to fix. The only thing I'm just asking, please allow me to continue to serve you. There's no problem. Therefore, Janmani Sure Bhavatad Bhakti Raitaki Twayi. Not even asking to go back to Godhead, life after life, I'll stay in this material world. Of course, Srila Prabhupada told us to focus on going back to Godhead. So how about that? Isn't that a contradiction then? A little awkward, right? Why did Prabhupada emphasize back to Godhead so much, when actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying Janmani Janmani Sware Bhavatat Bhakti Ahitakiyat Twayi. Life after life, let me just take birth in this material world as long as I'm engaged in your devotional service. Yeah, but that's for the advanced stages of bhakti. In our current stage, in the conditioned state of devotional service, we first of all have to cultivate a desire to go back to Godhead. Because, going back to Godhead, we don't even have such a desire to go back to Godhead. It would be all right, but then again, it's okay here as well, and we could just fix it a little, really. If only we fix things. It's pretty good. You just got to get rid of death, right? We want a staircase that can take us straight to the heavenly planets, and a few other such things. Just fix it. Just fix it. Demon. See? Now we are with Hiranyakasipu and Ravana. Yes, they also thought like this. Just get rid of death, just a staircase to the heavenly planets. In this way, how deep is the demoniac mentality in us? How deep? How deeply is it rooted? Satsvarup Maharaj addressed that in a book where he wrote, Am I a Vaishnava or a demon? And that was a really good question, a really good question. And I like that question and apply it to the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where the first few verses are describing the divine nature, and then the second half of the chapter, or more than half, describes the qualities of the demons. And of course, the first part of the chapter describes, us, the devotees, and the second part describes the non-devotees, isn't it? It's like that. Yeah? Obvious, And then we read it and say, look at these people, yeah, that's how they are, yeah, that's right. Harsh, yeah. But to actually overcome the contamination from such qualities, not just in our behavior, but even in our thought, even in our sentiments. So that's much more subtle, internally, not just externally. Externally, all right, everyone can pretty quick pick up the Hare Krishna ways, Haribo, that we can do, Haribo. Yeah, we pick up some Haribos on the way. That's pretty easy to do a Haribo. But to actually internally become free from self-centeredness, which is really the demoniac disease. Iswaroham aham bhogi. I am the Lord and I'm the enjoyer. Yes. And it's so good. And it's so difficult to give it up. Oh, do we really have to? Ooh. Why 4 regulative principles? Couldn't we have 2? Wouldn't, if you would design Krishna consciousness, right? Wouldn't you have 2 regulative principles instead of 4? Huh? Yeah? And if so, which 2 principles would you keep and which 2 would you kick out? These are interesting questions to ponder for a moment, and when we do a little bit of introspection and a little bit of soul searching and see. And why did I take us to this little personal detour? Just so that when we now look at Lord Brahma, that we are not so easily inclined to point the finger and say, oh, look at Lord Brahma. Ho, 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 Lord Brahma, big fell prey to illusion. How is that possible? How is that possible? Srila Prabhupada in the 18th chapter, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah. Well, what to say, you know. And Prabhupada was beyond. Prabhupada could not fall down by the influence of the material energy. But then, you know, we see that there's a description that Bharat Maharaj, right? Bharat Maharaj, who was a great king, who became a great yogi, then deep meditation, absorbed in bhava. Then one day, tiger in the forest, deer, tiger running after deer, deer running very fast, deer jumping over stream, and just plop, as deer jumping, little deer falling from mother deer into the water. Mother deer lands on the other side and dies of maybe heart attack, exhaustion, finito. And little deer, cute, with two lovely ears sticking above the water, floating down towards Bharat Maharaj, who is deeply absorbed in meditation on the Supreme Lord. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And Bharat plucked the little deer by its ears, probably, from the water, and then he had a little deer one. And yes, once you have a little deer one or two little deer ones, then, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Then so many complications arise. So, and yes, while you want to meditate, little deer ones want to play, right? And that is a complication. So Bharat was getting so much into it, he was just acting as if he was meditating. He wasn't even meditating, he was just acting as if he was meditating so that the little deer could come and sort of push him and sort of, come on, let's play. Right? In this way, he gave up his meditation and fell down and became a deer, and so on. So it's very interesting because he is a recorded case in the Bhagavatam of one who fell down from the stage of bhava. That's something. It's quite advanced. Yeah. Anyways, Prabhupada was absorbed in pure love of God, pure Krishna prem. So there was no question that he could fall down. But so what about Lord Brahma? Well, Lord Brahma's fall down is very subtle, right? It is a subtle fall down now. He is just wanting to test Krishna, which of course was not his position. Who are we to test the Supreme Lord? That's not our business. So it wasn't like a major offense, but the mentality, there was some deviation. We're not going to measure now how deep the love of Lord Brahma is for Krishna. I'm not going to say, so on the ladder from Shraddha to Prem, where shall we put Lord Brahma? On the same level as Bharat Maharaj? I won't do that. I don't want to commit offenses to Lord Brahma. It's like, so all that I will say is that Lord Brahma meditated for 60,000 of his years, which are rather long, 60,000 of his years on the dust of the feet of the gopis, and still he could not understand. The loving pastimes of Vrindavan. And now Lord Chaitanya is giving it. Now Lord Chaitanya is revealing it. And even when a small endeavor is made in Panchanga Bhakti, then very quickly Krishna Prem is attained. And Panchanga Bhakti are the 5 principal limbs of Bhakti, which are Mathuravas, residing in Mathura, Bhagavat Sravan, hearing the Bhagavatam, Sadhu Sangha, associating with the devotees, and Shraddhaya Murtira Sevaya, serving the deity with great faith, and ultimately, and topmost of all, the chanting of the holy name. If these 5 are performed even a little bit, then very quickly Krishna Prem is attained. So this is it. This is what it's about. This is what Lord Chaitanya came to give. Particularly these 5 things. He gave 64 limbs of bhakti, but particularly the emphasis on these 5. And that's our business. To somehow, as much as possible, preoccupy ourselves with these 5. Because then Krishna Prem will be attained. That is. Then no risk of fall down. Then no risk of delusion. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, who is the fully transparent via media of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was 100% dedicated to the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In him there was no compromise. And in this way we are worshipping Srila Prabhupada as the real pure devotee. Of course, when Prabhupada is asked, are there more pure devotees in your movement? Then Prabhupada said, yes. Then the interviewer asked, then how many are there? And Prabhupada asked then his secretary and said, how many members in ISKCON? That's how many pure devotees. Yes. So yes. But there are pure devotees and pure devotees. And mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most pure of all? Okay. Any questions? Any comments?
Question regarding prema. Theoretical question. I was just wondering, because if prema means that one's heart is overflowing with love for Krishna, and then it seems that in Vaikuntha there's also prema, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How can there one be Shantaras if one has prema?
Well, it's a different kind of prema. It is mixed. Mixed. It's not Santaraj. One is in Vaikuntha there are 2.5 rasas, right? There are Santa, Dasya, and Gauravasakya. So these rasas are predominating the mood, right? The mood of just being overwhelmed. Santa means being overwhelmed by the unlimited opulence of the Lord, and just standing there like, wow, and just praying, wow, and just. Then a Dasya element comes in, making arrangements for his pleasure, and then even some casualness is there, some Gauravasakya, but still fully aware of the awe and reverence of the Lord. That's how 2.5 rasas in Vaikuntha, it is stated, and not beyond, not deeper, because the Aishwarya is so prominent, right? The Yogamaya doesn't cover the the Aishvarya of the Lord. So then it's how can you see yourself as the father and mother of the Lord when, you know, or even have a parental mood? Yeah? How can you? When you know that He's the Supreme Lord. Gopal Champu is the book that sort of, where Jiva Goswami gets into this cutting edge difference. Although it's not Vaikuntha, but it's Mathura Vrindavan mood. Right? So he puts Nanda and Yasoda next to Vasudeva and Devaki, and shows the difference. The whole book is showing the difference. Of course, we know that when Vasudeva and Devaki were let out of the jail after Kamsa was killed and so on, and stood in front of Krishna and Balaram, they didn't embrace them because they knew they were the Supreme Lord. So they didn't feel qualified to embrace them. Whereas, you know, in Vrindavan, of course, you know, I mean, Yasoda takes Krishna on her lap. She doesn't care how big he is or what. He's just a child. Nanda Maharaj smells his head. Do you ever smell the head of your kids? Yeah? Is it nice? I never had kids, so I missed out on this experience, smelling heads. I mean, it's like I never... Yeah, so Gopal Champu, you have to read that. It's a fun book. Anyone else?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. So, maybe I misunderstood, but if I understand well, so Brahma, actually, he couldn't get the stage of prema, isn't it? Because
He couldn't, hold on. Misunderstood. Brahma has the stage of prema, but Brahma somehow or other, not that Vraja prema, right? But we cannot question the love of Lord Brahma. It is mixed with some awe and reverence. That's all we can say. Just as we discussed the residents of Vaikuntha, so there's a level of awe and reverence there.
And what is this point about what Prabhupada made in the purport? Like, whatever one may argue, he was born of matter, he's a lotus flower, so we will always be a victim of the four defects, you know, cheating, making mistakes.
Well, that's not this purport, or what? Where is that?
A few days ago.
A few days ago.
Yeah, Prabhupada made the points that...
We would have to read. You have to find that, because I don't...
15.
Yeah, it's a big purport. You have to read the whole purport. Now I have to read the whole purport. I'm trying to fast read it and I don't find it. Materially born persons cannot fully understand Krishna. Even the demigods cannot understand him. Yeah, this materially born personalities cannot fully understand Krishna on their own power. But by mercy they can. Obviously. So, you know, anyway, that point is then there. So somehow or other, whether Lord Brahma had a slight tinge of impurity, right? A speck on the moon, which then was magnified by Krishna and purified by Krishna. It is also stated in elsewhere in the Bhagavatam that if there is a trace of impurity in a pure devotee, then the Lord himself makes immediate arrangements to purify that. Yes. So, Lord Brahma is so intimately connected to Krishna that even if there is a trace of something, he lives also so long, and if a trace of impurity would come out, Krishna will immediately make arrangements to rectify. So, in one sense, it's also that it is said when the mother, now we're talking Vedic situation. Vedic situation, if a lady gets married, she moves into the house of her husband. Then she lives with her mother-in-law, which is not so easy, right? Then the mother-in-law is aware of that. So when the mother-in-law wants to instruct the daughter-in-law, she doesn't do it directly, she does it by instructing her own daughter in front of the daughter-in-law. Very subtle. Yes. So Krishna is maybe also instructing us through Lord Brahma. And that is one reason why such pastimes are taking place. We should also see that Krishna wants to teach us through Lord Brahma. Yes. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's not a trace of something in Lord Brahma, but Krishna particularly had used Lord Brahma and magnified it to show us. We should not, although there are many demons in this 10th canto, and Krishna is dealing with all these demons, we should not start thinking, oh, and Lord Brahma was also for a moment, almost then. No. Lord Brahma is always a devotee. Always a devotee. Indra got carried away a bit more. He's a devotee, but it was on the borderline because he wanted to kill the residents of Vrindavan. So even Krishna was going, Indra, you're supposed to be a devotee. I mean, but Lord Brahma is a devotee.
Yes. I have a question, Maharaj, about the three modes of material nature and devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching us you can do devotional service in tamas, rajas, and sattva. So, question is, for us, how can we be sure that we will ever move out from the domain of three modes of material nature? We can play whole life with so-called devotional service, and it can be always material, according to that understanding. How do we, and what makes the difference between?
We are speaking about mixed devotional service. Devotional service is analyzed in the Bhagavad Gita. And there are two acharyas who are our main commentators. One is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the other one is Baladev Vijaybhusa. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is always pointing out that we are still under the influence of the modes of nature, and emphasizing that point, although the bhakti is also there. Baladev Vijaybhusa is always emphasizing the bhakti aspect, and even if there is influence of the modes of nature, as long as we're engaging in bhakti, that is bhakti. We might say, well, but bhakti, conditioned bhakti, is not, we may perform it sometimes, but it is interrupted by karma, and even while we are performing the bhakti, the motivation is also not pure. So it's also corrupted by impure motivation. Maybe that may be a fact, but something is there. A little bit of bhakti is there. That's pure. That is pure. See, if we are offering some donation to Krishna and are thinking that then I will get something back. So we're giving it like that. But there's a material motive at the same time. Maybe. But still, we offered something to Krishna. That little part is counted as pure. And then Krishna, just as Krishna overlooked Putana's intentions, no? He just said, okay, she wanted to kill me, all right, but she also wanted to be my mother. Okay, I'll accept her as my mother. So Krishna is Bhava Grahi Janardhan. He is accepting the intention of the good intention that is there. Whatever good intention is there, he just filters out the good and overlooks the fault. He is Bhava Grahi Janardhan, which means he overlooks our fault and takes the good intention. So considering that, Prabhupada took Baladev's emphasis, looking at the bhakti. Prabhupada emphasized the bhakti. We're taking that as not that there is a difference of opinion between the acharyas, rather we're taking it in the context of what Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes, that the lotus of Lord Chaitanya's mercy is opening more and more and more. And we can see that Prabhupada opened that lotus more and more and more, and it's still opening more and more and more, and we become more aware of the amazing mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So wherever a little bhakti is mixed in, Bhavagrahi Janardhan, Krishna will just take that and overlook all the limitations. So we don't worry. Karma Misra Bhakti, Jnana Misra Bhakti, no problem. It's bhakti. Krishna overlooks the Karma Misra, he overlooks the Jnana Misra, and we get purified. Ultimately, the bhakti will anyway purify the Karma Misra, the Jnana Misra. So, and if you're not going to make it this lifetime, which, if I get honest now, right, then I can ask the honest questions. Where are they? Romancha Kampashu Taranga Bhajo. 9 o'clock. Sorry, class is to finish now. No, the hairs are not standing on end. The heart is still steel framed. So what to do now? Where are they? Who's rolling on the ground? Where are the tears shooting from the eyes like syringes? Where are they? Yes, we heard about Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago with his associates. But where are they now? Where are they now? So then, are we actually going to go back to Godhead? Or not? Well, so here comes Lord Chaitanya. And he is freely distributing love of Godhead to all, to the most fallen. But there is a little clause. And the clause is, if you're not 100% pure and you don't have Krishna prema, you gotta take another birth. It's hard to believe. So here's Lord Chaitanya, and here is his love. And because of his love, he doesn't see any faults. Just like parents, sometimes there are parents and their kid is an absolute monster. At least in my eyes, right? When I see the kid, it's a monster. And the parents go, he's so cute, like, that pudgy little monster. Oh, gosh. But they can't see what I see. Krishna also. He can't see. Lord Chaitanya, he can't see. Therefore, this Bhavagrahi Janardhan is not a mental adjustment of Lord Chaitanya. Just due to his overwhelming love, he just can't see the faults. He can't see them. So, asabandha, hope against hope. even if you're not 100% perfect, that still, at the end, the mercy will come, and that will be let into the spiritual world, and then love of God will come on the way. You know this devotee Yadunath from USA, and who did this horse race? Have you seen the horse race? You have seen it because I told Rupa, and Rupa sent it to you in front of me, yes. But you can Google today, since you're going to Google anyway, right? Isn't it? You're going to, or is today Google fast? I don't think it is it? And then what you Google is this, Yadunath, right? And horse race on YouTube. And there it is. Ooh. You'll see it. I won't tell you anything more. Google today, Yadunath, horse race. Are you ready? Some will go right there in the room next door. Googling. Some have already started. Okay. I'll end now. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Kadamba Kanana Maharaj ki jai.